Hello, how is everyone doing today? I want to go over my workflow and apps that I use, the hardware that I have, which I talked a little bit about yesterday on the previous podcast. And so I want to go ahead and go into an introduction with that. There's three main apps basically that I use, and they're really the foundation of everything that I do. And so I think it's important for anyone who's curious, and sometimes I get questions about it, especially on the live stream from the Twitch channel. And so I'll go into that today. Okay. So this is the main one that I use, which is Adobe. Now there are quite a few options that you have with this, but for me, I just go for the photography package. So it's basically a setup of Lightroom and Photoshop. They are apps and you are connected to the cloud. There is no CD or anything like that that you have to get sent to you or that you purchase. It's just you go online to adobe.com, you sign up. There is a free trial down here available. And for me, I just have Lightroom Classic, and then Photoshop. Now, of course, there's other creative plans that are here, but for me, I just have the one for photographers because that's really what I want to use. Now, if anything, I feel like Illustrator with the vector graphics and illustration here, that would be really nice to have included. But that's going to be a part of a different package and at a higher price. So if you go to the Buy Now button, you're going to have the Lightroom Photoshop package here. You have, let's see, Photoshop here by itself. You have the entire creative package with all the apps on it, which is going to be $60 a month. But for me, I have this package, which is $10 a month. Now, I will say that you're locked in for a year. So whenever you decide to start your monthly subscription, they're going to lock you in for a year. So if you try to, after 6 months, to cancel your subscription, they're going to charge you whatever is the remaining balance for that particular year. So really, if you're going to go to the cloud avenue, because some people still have like Photoshop 6 that's on a CD. But I definitely like the cloud version because they're constantly adding updates to it, which is included. Now in the long run, of course, it's going to cost you a lot more. But for me and what I'm doing, the $10 a month is fine with the updates. I am able to use this one account on my iPad as well. But when you use Photoshop on iPad, it's not going to have all your features on there that you would get from the desktop version. So it's going to treat your iPad like it's a mobile device, and it's going to be very limited. They're slowly but surely adding other features and options on the iPad version of Photoshop, but for the most part, it's going to be extremely limited on what you can do from iPad. So on the iPad, I just have my basic edits, but other than that, I have to bring it back over to the desktop, and finish, anything that I want to do on the photograph. So, but anyway, you get 20 gigabytes worth of storage space for $10 a month. If you want a terabyte worth of space, they're going to charge you double, and that's going to be $19.99 or $20 a month. So for me, the 20 gigs is fine. I'm really not comfortable backing up my work on the cloud, so I don't need that much space as far as what Adobe gives you for their cloud storage. Now, the cloud storage is good because I'm working back and forth from iPad to the Mac Mini. So going back and forth, it's good to have the 20 gigabytes worth of storage. But when I'm done with a particular project, I take it off the cloud, and that's just basically free storage for me, just like temporary storage when I'm working on things. But as far as like a backup, like a official backup, I don't use any cloud storage in my workflow at all. And I'm pretty sure quite a few of you use Google Drive. Microsoft also has cloud storage. There's a bunch of different companies have cloud storage, but like I said, I don't keep any of my work on the cloud. But it's there. It's definitely available. And the reason why is because I've had my work access, especially on Google Drive, through the cloud before from people who were overseas, and they got access to my account, which they get access to all your files that are on the drive or on the cloud. And so it becomes very, it's an unsecure space to me. So that's why I don't use any cloud storage at all. All right, so there's that one. There's also the business plan, which I don't use because it's $38 a month. All the apps for Creative Cloud goes up to $90 a month. So, and of course, there's for students and teachers, all the apps are just $20 a month, which is a really good price. So if you're a student, definitely take advantage of that, students or teachers. So there's that. So yeah, I'm just using the individual package. All right, my next one that I have as far as apps go. So that's the first app. The second app that I usually use quite a bit is Canva. When I stumbled upon Canva, actually I was watching tutorials and people were talking about Canva like I should have known about it all along, but I didn't know. I've been using Canva for over a year now, and it's just really, really easy to use. So you can create videos, just simple graphics, things like that. I believe there's vectors here available as well. So if you don't have access to Illustrator, this is also a good program to use. But everything is simple. It's easy for me to like, okay, for example, my Instagram post. I have everything here that I usually post to Instagram. So to keep everything as far as the style of the brand, to keep it consistent, I just created a bunch of different examples. You can drag and drop, you can copy, you can duplicate. And the features that it has are simple enough. You can't do like anything crazy as far as I know, but they're adding features to this all the time. But it's very simple. So you can animate your text. You have effects here. You have transparency. So everything is very, for me, I just want to have a minimalistic approach. So I'll create graphics in Photoshop or Illustrator, and then I can bring everything over here. Of course, drag my photography over here as well. So over here on the sidebar, I have uploaded just all of the photographs or graphics that I want to use, and then I'll put it together in some, pretty decent composition and just bring it over here. You can also make videos like slideshows. Sometimes if I'm capturing video, I can also drag it here and create videos from here as well. So it has the timelines, everything. So you can do a lot of linear video editing here. I guess what would be a good example of this? So here's one of the videos that I shot, simple 2-minute video, and you can just go through it. So you can play through the whole thing. There's video effects here. You can clip it. There's filters. There's the adjustable. Everything's adjustable here. And this type of stuff, like, I haven't even messed with yet. But this is in the beta, so I don't even know what's here. So like I said, they're adding stuff all the time. And yeah, it's just a really good resource for sure. So anytime I have headers for some of the websites that I have, like I said, videos, slideshows, anything that's like really basic, really simple, really linear, I would definitely use Canva for that. And non-linear video editing, I definitely have to learn Final Cut, or I think it's Premiere Pro for Adobe. I have to learn one of those for that. But this is my old business card that I put together in here. So it's still there. This is your timeline down here. You can add music, which is under audio. So yes, this is not expensive. I'm paying $12.95 per month with this one. There's the yearly subscription that you can do as well, which you'll save some money on with that one. But I just paid the $12.95 per month, and that works, just fine for me. But yeah, this is my second favorite. With this one, I'm testing out promos as far as like how I want to market the work. And this template is basically for the stories on Instagram, Facebook. And then if you want to do shorts on YouTube, it's also the same format as far as the portrait format. So I'm just testing out different things to see what I want to work with. Now, if I'm promoting a brand, I use something like this, but it's just making sure that everything has that minimalistic style to it. So yeah, definitely I'm trying different things for sure. Like all of these things can be animated as well. So if I want the pictures to fade in like one at a time, I created an animation for that as well. And then this one, definitely videos. So this is more like video presentation that I have here. Well, actually, these are all of my screenshots or covers for YouTube. So they're all in here, and just to make sure that the look of it, the style of it stays consistent. There's that. You can organize everything into folders. So for me, if you click folders here, there's all my folders where everything is placed. So yeah, I'm I'm working on all these things, or this is stuff that I've worked on before. So there's that one. And then the last app that I use, let's see, is Smartest. So this is you'll find this on the Apple's, in the App Store for Apple. So it's one of my favorites. I did go into it a little bit on the last podcast, but this is there's a lot of apps that you can use to preview your work, your artwork, your photography, paintings, illustrations, anything like that. So I really do love this program. Out of all the apps like this that I've tried, this one is definitely my favorite. And like I mentioned before, you have, I would say 15 to 20 interiors are added to this space every 2 to 3 weeks or so. They've been pretty good about doing that throughout the year. And so some of these things, like you see this is grayed out. So you just download it. And once it shows up, and there you go. You have a new interior. Now with this, you have multiple layouts, but you just pick an artwork. Right, so you come down here in the corner, you can add artwork. Now, if you have your own interior, like you take a photograph of your room or your living room space or someone else's, you can also add that in here and then drag your artwork into that space. And so you can give your clients some more of a realistic approach of what the artwork could look like in that space. So I've done that before. But for the most part, it's just adding my work into this space. I think this is really important to have because especially with my work, and I have so many photographs, I haven't had them all on exhibit. So this is a good place for me to just test out where or what type of style the work would fit into. So for example, you have Koi and then Bellagio. I would say out of the two, Bellagio would fit better in this space. So I'm really looking at the color. If the colors match up, the style matches up. You can also adjust your print size now, which is a feature that I actually asked them about. So when you boot up the app, more times than not, they'll have a pop-up window that comes up. You can leave reviews. You can ask for certain features that you feel like they're missing in the app. So a few months ago, I think it was like 2 months ago, the pop-up came up, and even though I left a 5-star review before, I had like another review or like a little request and saying that they should add this feature in here where I can resize it, right? And the dimensions would come up on the screen. Because before you would have to go into the edit window, resize it, like you have rename, crop, you have all these things here, right? You have dimensions, you have to go to dimensions, and you would have to change the height, the width, the depth here, right? And so my suggestion was for them to put that just right here so that I can just move it freely without having to go into that window. And like 2 weeks later, they added it. They added it in here. So I'm really happy about that. So yeah, for my work, for the most part, most of my work can go up to 40 by 60 inches, which I mentioned last time. So that's where I start. And then if you have a space where you just don't have the room for it, or let's say that you want to put a mat or a frame on here. So there's your frame with the mat. There's the frame without it. You can change the color of the frame. You can change the frame width. So it always starts out at like 0.4 inches, but you can change the width of that. And then you can mess around with the color. There's different colors in here, but for me, it's either black or white. But there's definitely different colors that you can try. I don't believe they have different textures for the frame as yet, but I think that's something else that, oh wait, they do have texture. So here's wood. So yeah, you can go through all of these. And then let's say if you want to stick with that and then you want to add a matting to it, you have matte color that's down here. And then there's the whole palette down there, which I don't really use. And then there's the matte size. It starts at 2.5, 2.5 inches. And then you can move this up to 7.9. So again, it's just, you just mess around with the size. So many different options. So many different options that you can do. Now, I would say like adjust this to maybe 20 by 30 and then go with a wide mat and maybe boost the width of the frame maybe 2 inches, something like that, right? And then kind of go, I would probably say 24 by 36, something like that would be pretty good. Now, the other thing too that you can do on not all of the interiors, but there are some where you can change the view and the angle on the entire space. So yeah, it'll turn it on its side. And then you can say the color of the wall can change. So there's the palette again, which again I really don't use, but you do have certain colors that you can go to. And this one is really dark. So on these, it's like just watch your lighting in the scene and make sure it doesn't look weird. But yeah, so there's a lot of different adjustments. You can go different interiors. You can go with or without frame and mat, different sizes. And then the other thing I wanted to point out, let me go ahead and take the frame off again. And then go with a straight on view. You can also change the layout. So over here in the sidebar, you have layouts. So you can have one artwork, you have two, and there's just different ones available. So if you take the 4 pieces at once, you just go back to artwork and you slide it over. So you just drag. I think you have to, let's see, click here. There you go, and click the artwork. I wonder, can I resize the whole thing? Because I haven't messed with this as much. Okay, you can resize that by itself 2030. There we go. And I should be able to, or I can't move it closer. Oh, there we go. So if I come up here, I would have to figure out how to move that. Okay, so select the picture and then you drag it. You drag it over. So select, click that one. Okay. And then select the last one. Click that one. And there we go. Nice. Now I'm trying to figure out, can I move? Okay, yeah. So I can move them all at once. Okay. And it does have some snap guides in here, so that helps. There we go. Let's line them up a little better. All right. And then when you come back to the interiors button, you view it from a different angle. And if you want to use it that way, you can line those up like that. So yeah, in the artwork is behind the plant, it's behind the couch. It lands where it's supposed to, in the lighting also lands where it's supposed to, right? So it helps to be more realistic. And then you can try that on someplace else. So yeah, you can literally be in here for hours trying out different combinations of artworks, interiors, frame matting, no frame and matting. You can be in here for hours for sure. It gets a little bit crazy. So I really have to come in here with a purpose of what I want to work on. Otherwise, I can be in here for too long just messing with these things. But because they come out with new interiors, I can always come back in here, and for work I've already paired with a particular interior, I can update the interior with something better, because a lot of the stuff that they're coming out with right now, I mean, it looks really good. Now, as far as the rooms go, they have the all rooms button up here on near the top left. And then there's your favorites. My favorites are, you have the little heart button up here. So if you go to all rooms, all these have a little heart button available in the top right corner. So you just click the little heart and it'll fall under your favorites tab. So these are all my favorites and ones that I've used before. So if I'm just going through the interiors and something jumps out at me, I'll add it as a favorite. And then when I come back here with a project that I'm working on and I have something like a 4-piece or 6-piece series, I'll have an idea of where I want to put the series in terms of which interiors that I want to pick. So definitely, go through there, build up your favorites. But they have a seasonal tab as well. Valentine's, which that's too much for me. But yeah, and then they have, for your smaller pieces, they have close-ups. So if the artwork is too big, it'll shrink it down automatically. But there's that. So yeah, everything gets scaled down if the space is too small. This is a minimal tab, which I definitely do like that. So yeah, this is let me go back to single. All right, there we go. Yep, you can still adjust it. You can still adjust it there, but there is plenty. There are plenty. Okay, so you see these down here with the soon, it's got orange. It's highlighted in orange up there in the corner. These are interiors that they're working on. So when their next update installs, these are the interiors that are gonna be available. So sometimes I'll come down here and I'll look at what, like, you can't click it right now, but it's gonna be available. So you can always look at where they're going with the app, the type of interiors that are gonna show up. So this is one is for galleries. So if you're trying to see how your work would look in a particular gallery space, then they have stuff like this that'll definitely work. So, um, this will be really good for promotional material, you know, and then you can send it to galleries, to curators, to judges, and you know, it's just a good way to promote your work, present your work. Lobbies and receptions, um, for sure. And again, they all, like, not all of them, but most of them have an alternate viewing angle. Oh wow, living rooms. They have a bunch of new stuff I haven't downloaded yet. Very nice, very nice. So like I said, you can be in here for a while. You can be in here for a while. So if a client comes to you, collector comes to you and says, I have enough room for a 24 by 36, and they can give you a list of art pieces that they're thinking about purchasing. So you can just give them this mock up of it at the exact dimensions, you know, and that'll be a good way to open up dialogue on that and how that would look in their particular space that they want artwork for. So there's that. All right. So those are my top three. Adobe is huge. Adobe's huge for me, and you just purchase, whichever bundle um, that you need for the apps that you use. And let's see, Canva would be the second one. Um, and again, just I definitely suggest organizing everything in folders because you're going to have a lot of a lot of stuff that you're working on. And then with Smartest, just have fun with it, experiment for sure to see what you can come up with. And then it'll be great to share that on social media, your social media channels. I've even created short videos of these with a particular series in interiors, like various interiors. So it's good for presentation for sure. All right, let me close this out. Okay, so next thing, and it got dark in here all of a sudden. Hold on. Let me yeah, it got dark in here all of a sudden. Let me fix the light again. Okay. All right. And so now I'm going to go into my setup that I use as far as hardware goes. And again, I talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I didn't really give examples. So when I watched some of the playback, I was like, I really didn't show you guys what I'm talking about as well as I could have. So we're going to go ahead and go into that. The first thing is the Apple Mini. So this is exactly what I have. And of course, I took advantage of the back to school sale that happened in August last year at Best Buy. So I think it's about a 2 week window where you can buy school supplies, college supplies, and whatnot with no sales tax on it. So this one, I went ahead and I bought the Mac Mini. That's really what it is. Don't pay any attention to the monitor. There's no monitor. It's just this is your desktop. Um, but don't get discouraged. It's pretty powerful. It's from $5.99. Now what I did, like I said last year, they had the sale at Best Buy. There was no sales tax, but the Mac Mini was also an additional $100 off. So when I went there, it was $4.99 with no sales tax. And so I figured, there was no way I could pass that up, right? Um, I did get the base M2. I didn't get the M2 Pro. But like I said yesterday, it's got an 8-core CPU, the 10-core GPU. You can get up to 24 gigabytes of memory, but I've only got 8 gigs. Anything above 8 gigs, you're going to have to pay extra for. So I'll leave it up to you what you want to do with your memory. And it's got 100 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth. So even though I only have 8 gigs of memory, I don't run into like stalling or freezing issues. Like 99% of the time, I don't run into that. And then now they have the speed, capability, numbers. The M1 for Mac Mini, this is where it was. And then the Mac Mini with M2, I guess they're saying it's 3.5 times faster. And then with the M2 Pro is 4.7 times faster than I guess they're using this as the baseline. The Mac Mini with the Intel i7. And gosh, we've been using Intels for the longest, and then Apple decided to create their own core, their own processor. So they jumped onto the M series and started leaving the Intel cores behind, and the M series is just it just blows me out of the water. It blows the competition out of the water, especially what we was using before. And then I think Intel decided to upgrade their i7s because i7 used to be the top of the line. And And then Intel decided to come out with their i9s, and those are pretty good. Those are pretty good. So anyway, if you get the monitor, if I remember correctly, because I did my research on this last year, but the monitor does not pair with other monitors. So if you get the Mac Studio, I believe that it does not pair with, if you just buy an Asus or a Samsung or, a PC monitor, like it won't pair with that. So the only way you can have like a dual monitor, two monitor setup is you have to buy two Mac Studio monitors. And why would somebody do that? Because it is a lot more expensive. You would do that simply because if you want a 5K monitor, when most monitors come up to 4K, then you would buy the Mac Studio. But it is what, $2,000? I want to say $2,000. Just for, it's a monitor. It's a monitor. So there you go. It goes all into the details. It does have a solid state drive. Hold on. Okay. So it does have the solid state drive. You can get storage up to 8 terabytes, but it is going to be extremely expensive. Like, it's going to add to your cost, for sure. But it's available as an option. But this is your basic setup, where this guy down here, that is your desktop. That's it. And what's crazy? Because I'm coming from PC. Like, I was PC like forever. And last year, this is my first computer, really, that's Apple. Now, I've worked on Apple products before. With my photography classes, we had iMacs, but I hadn't worked on Mac for years. And so getting this one, I really wasn't sure of what to expect. But I would say a huge difference is I wouldn't know that it's on if that little light, see this little light right here? It's very small, but this little light right here, that's the only reason why I know it's on. It doesn't make any noise. I never hear the fan turned on. Like, it's fast. It doesn't stall. Like I say, 99% of the time I can be working on files that are like 60, 70 gigs on Photoshop, and it's fine. And that's with only 8 gigabytes of memory on it. So I don't have any issues with it. I think the only problem that I would say that bothers me is the ports. You do have the Ethernet. This is your power adapter, but you only have 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports. You only have 1 HDMI port, and I don't even think it's geared towards 4K. I don't think it's a 4K port. And then you have 2 USB-A ports. It's just not enough ports on it. If you've had a PC, you will probably have 3 or 4 HDMI ports. You'll probably have 4 Thunderbolt ports, if not more. So I feel like, and then the USB A's, 6 to 8 of those on the desktop, again, if not more. So they really, oh my gosh, it's really not enough ports on it. That's my only, the only thing that bugs me. So I guess that in it's more expensive to upgrade the memory and the storage. If you want to upgrade the memory and the storage, because the base model that I have is the 8 gigabytes of memory, again, upgrading that's very expensive. And then I have 256 gigabytes on the solid state drive. Also, that's not enough, right? Like I have more storage on my iPad Pro than I have on the Mac Mini. So on the iPad, I've got a terabyte worth of storage, which is plenty. And I feel like that should be like your baseline minimum on the desktop for sure. But this is what we've got or this is what I have. So for the price that I have, that I paid for it, really good value. So if you're like, you have enough in your budget for like an entry level desktop, then I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, like I said, it runs fine. It does have the upgraded Wi-Fi. I guess it's 6E, and I really can't keep track of these because technology is like constantly changing. So they're always upgrading stuff. And like I said, as far as accessories, they are promoting the 27-inch 5K Retina display. You you really have to be careful with their monitors too. Um, you really do. You have to be careful with their monitors because if you don't read the fine print, you, your the quality of monitor, it may not be what you think it is. So okay, so I'll give you the example of this. So you see how it has the 5K Retina display. That is not the best monitor that Apple has. You really want it to be XDR. And it'll specifically say XDR. I believe that's the letters to it. If it's not XDR, then you have a lower graded monitor. And I'm not entirely sure why well, I guess for one, it can be pricing, but just be careful with that. So it is a 5K, right? Retina, but it's not the XDR version. So, for example, my iPad Pro that I got with the M1, that's the XDR screen. But if you buy the 11-inch version of the iPad Pro, you're not going to get the XDR updated screen. So you just be careful with that. Be careful with that. So that's just to say in short that they don't put their best monitor on all of their products. They don't. They kind of pick and choose where, what has the best monitor and what doesn't. And again, I'm not entirely sure why. And I'll try to show you guys an example of what I'm talking about so you know what to look for. Okay, so we got the new MacBook Air. I'm looking for the specs. Now, this is the M3 version. So the M3 is new, like brand new, which is what Apple came out with this year. So, of course, the M3 is going to be faster than the M1s, going to be faster than the M2s. Yeah. But again, I'm looking for the specs, which there's a lot of. Okay, so it's got a liquid retina display. I don't think that's the XDR version. So you're going to have to figure out what you want or what you prioritize, right? You're going to have to figure out what what you want to prioritize. Do you want to prioritize the monitor quality, the quality of the monitor, or do you want to prioritize the CPU, the core? So for example, you can have an M1 chip with the XDR, the best screen, or you can have an M2 chip with a lower quality monitor or screen. I mean, it's just, it's up to you. But I mean, they kind of put you in a position where you can't get both, right? Like, say you want to have the MacBook Air and you want the M3, but you also want the XDR version of the monitor. I don't think it's available. At least it's not right now. So yeah, they kind of put you in a weird space. Yeah, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. So let me see if I can blow this up here. There we go. So look specifically at your monitor. So here you have the 13.6 inch, 15.3 inch, and it says liquid retina display, right? And that's for the MacBook Air. But now when you go to the MacBook Pro 14 and 16 inches, look at the monitor. Liquid retina XDR display. Those three letters XDR, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but it's a big deal. So they put their best monitor on the higher priced laptop. And a lot of people go for the MacBook Air because it's a lighter laptop. It's lighter. It really doesn't have that many ports because people who get the Air, they don't need them. So they want something light, easier to carry around, of course. They like the thin, like it's very, very thin, right? But also, what if you want the better monitor? That's only available on the MacBook Pro. So, yeah. And then as far as the core, you look at the two, right? You got an M2 and M3 chip, right? But what if you want an Air, a MacBook Air, but you want more power? So you've got the M3 Pro and then the M3 Max chip over here, right? You don't have it available on the Air. It's only available on the Pro. So again, you kind of have to weigh what do you prioritize, right? For sure. What do you prioritize? As far as memory, the base starts at 8 gigabytes, but for the Air, you can only get up to 24 gigs of memory. For the Pro, you can get up to 128 gigabytes of memory, which is ridiculous and probably unnecessary for most of us, but there are some people who do that. As far as storage, the MacBook Air can go up to 2 terabytes of storage, where the MacBook Pro can go up to 8 terabytes of storage, which is crazy ridiculous. But that's why it says this is your starting price with the base model. Anything that you add as upgrades, the price is going to go up probably $200 every upgrade, like $200 to $400 every upgrade, depending on what you upgrade. So I think a lot of people I've seen like the Air. Let me see if I can go into a little bit more detail here. So they've got the different colors. You've got now your GPU, your dedicated graphics card. It starts out at 8. You get an 8 core, but you can also get a 10 core, right? So if you go from a 256 gigabyte solid state drive, your storage, if that's about $1,100, if you upgrade that to 512 gigs for your solid state drive, your cost goes up by $400 if you double the size of your storage. If you go from 256 to 512 on storage. So it just depends on where your budget is, right? And then that is the 13-inch model. Yeah, with the M3 chip. Now, this is a 13-inch model with the M2. This is the 15-inch model with the M3. So, again, it can be a little confusing to get through all the different options that are available, but that's what it is. Now you notice that between the M2 and the M3 chip, they're charging you another $100. Like if you go from the M2 to the M3, it's another 100 added on to the price to upgrade the core of the laptop. So there's that. So I mean, and then the other reason that I went for the Mac Mini is the screen size. Like I would prefer to have a 16-inch MacBook Pro, but it's so expensive. It wasn't within my budget, right? So the 14-inch would be too small because I was a PC user. So I was coming from a 15.6-inch screen, and then I got the iPad Pro, which is a 12.9-inch screen, way too small. And then I looked at the ones that were 14-inch, also entirely too small. So the 16-inch was pretty good, and it was close to what I was used to. But yeah, if you go to the price of the 16-inch, the base model, like the base model is $2,500. Now you do get 12 cores for the CPU, 18 cores for the GPU. You got 18 gigabytes of memory, and then the storage is average at 512 gigabytes for the solid state drive. So I'm thinking I want a terabyte worth of storage at least, which means that I was going to have to jump up to here. It's 3,500. And I'm like, yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. But it does have the XDR display that'll match what I have on the iPad Pro 12.9. But yeah, that price tag is crazy expensive. Now, I will say it does have 3 ports for the Thunderbolt. It only has one HDMI port, which is ridiculous actually. But I mean, that's where that's all they're offering is one HDMI port, which is weird. But anyway, it's just nothing I can do about that. I guess the other thing that you can do, because they also upgraded the core here, is that you can select this one, right? And then just try to upgrade your storage and see how that goes as far as pricing. So let me see, because I'm curious. What would they charge me Okay, so if you upgrade your core, your chip, the processor, from the M3 Pro to the M3 Max, they're going to charge you another $400. And then if you upgrade the amount of cores that you have from 14 to 16, you upgrade the GPU from 30 cores to 40. That's another, they're going to add a $700 to the price. Same thing with the memory, 18 gigs to 36, that's another $400, and so on. 48 gigs, they're going to add on 600. If you max it out, just for the memory upgrade by itself to 128 gigabytes, that's another 1,600 on top of the base price. Storage, which is really what I was looking for, they charge $200 to double the storage from 512 to a terabyte. 2 terabytes of storage, 4, and then 8 terabytes available with the M3 Max chip. So to get the 8 terabytes of storage, you have to upgrade the core processor, because the M3 Max processor is just larger. And it can handle, I guess, the 8 terabytes for the solid state drive. And then that by itself would be another $2,400 added on. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. So let's go max, right? So where are we at with the base price? It's $2,500, right? So let's go max for the chip, for the processor, and let's go absolutely crazy with the 8 terabyte solid state storage. So before taxes, it's going to be $5,700 roundabout. I don't know what else to tell you. It's expensive. And then there's the option for Final Cut Pro. Oh, and I just learned that for Final Cut Pro, if you buy it or if you want to try it out, there is a 90-day free trial that they have. There's that. I believe it's still up. Let me see if I can. Yes. So Final Cut Pro free for 90 days, which is awesome. And then I think if you want to buy it, the student version I believe is $200, and then the pro version I think it's $300. All in all, it's not bad. And then, like, in the long run, you'll save money because it's not a subscription-based software. Excuse me. So, in the long run, you'll definitely save money on that. All right. And then the other thing I went into yesterday is the mouse. There is the white version of it, but I wanted mine in black. It looks really cool. Like, the pictures here don't do it justice. Now, this is not gonna seem like a big deal as far as like a design that they use, but you see these strips, these 2 strips, it makes it so that you don't need a mouse pad. Like, this is your mouse pad right here, right? Because what that does, you see this on the bottom, it lifts the mouse up off the table, or whatever you're sitting it on. Because essentially that's what your mouse pad does. It lifts your mouse off of whatever surface you're using. They integrated the mouse pad right onto the mouse without blocking the sensor. So I'm like, that's really good design, right? Now, the only thing is what's bad design is they put the charging point, the port, on the bottom of the mouse. So when the mouse is charging, you can't use it. I don't know why. Well, I mean, it's like sometimes Apple gets too cute with these things. But that's really what that is. So if you buy a wireless PC mouse, the charging port's not going to be on the bottom. It's going to be on the top more times than not. Somewhere on the side, right? So you don't have to, you'll still be able to use the mouse while it's charging. But I don't know, Apple just decided they didn't want to go that direction. And then the other thing I'm a little bit confused on is I'm not sure why they use the lightning port here. I feel like they should, like, this is a USB-C connection. So I just feel like they should have doubled up with both of these being USB-Cs, because lightning, like Apple is the only one that uses lightning ports. So you can have a bunch of USB-C cables lying around and you can't charge your mouse with it because they insist on using their own connection or connector. So I don't know. It's one of those things. But anyway, there's that. All right. Now, also, if you want to save $20, you can go with whiter. If you just like the white one better, it's $79. If you want to go with the black one, it is $20 more. Why that's the case, I just think the black one looks better. But that's just my opinion. It just depends on how you want everything to look on your desk. But for me, I doubled up on the black for the trackpad and the mouse. Again, with this one, the white version is available. It's fine. It just doesn't, I just don't like it. I don't like the color. But yeah, now the white version, again, you can save $20 on it. If you get it in black, they're going to charge you an extra $20 for reasons that I'm not aware of. But it's really, again, it's just a large trackpad that you would usually have on your laptop. And as I said before, I thought it would be an overrated product, and it's actually my favorite gadget that I have currently. Now, I did stress yesterday that I want to upgrade the keyboard. Oh, wait a minute. Connection, same thing. Lightning port, USB-C. So they have not upgraded this device in a while. But maybe on the next version of the trackpad and the mouse, they'll give us a USB-C port, like directly on the device. But yeah, this is Lightning. You have to connect it through Lightning, and then use the USB-C port on the Mac. So on the Mini. Now, for the keyboard, I don't like the black keys. I don't like that at all. It just looks weird to have the silver and the black. I prefer the white. So I'm thinking the mouse is black, trackpad over here, black, but then in the middle, I like the lighter keys. And this is a fingerprint ID, which I also want, because on the iPhone, the iPad, there is facial recognition, so I don't have to constantly type in passwords or PIN numbers or anything like that. On the Mac Mini, there is no facial recognition or camera that comes with it to recognize your face. So I'm constantly typing in my password, and I don't like doing that. So it's like I want to be lazy and just either use facial or fingerprint recognition for my ID and keep it moving, right? But that means that you're going to pay an extra premium for the Touch ID to be included, and also the full keypad over here on the side. You just pay extra for that. So this time around, the white version is $179. If you want the black keys, is an extra $20 again. The connectors, they did the same thing. Lightning port, USB-C. Why? I have no idea why they're using Lightning still. Other than we have to spend like, because this is what's going to happen, and this is what happened with the iPad. The cable is very short. The cable is really short. So you have to go, I had to go back to the store, buy a longer cable for $20 when that longer cable should have just come with the device. I don't know. So yeah, for the iPhone, the cable is really short. For the iPad Pro, the cable is ridiculously short. And even though the iPad Pro does have the USB-C port on it, you're going to have to spend another $20 just to buy a longer cord. And I don't know why the cord that comes with the device is so short. But yeah, it's like not usable. When the cord is like 2 or 3 feet long, it's like that's not going to work. So yeah, that's just a heads up on that one. And I think the last thing that I did that I wish I did not do is I did not buy the Apple's the case for the iPad Pro. I went ahead and I bought the Logitech combo keyboard folio, long name. It works fine. Like when I bought it, it wasn't on sale. So normally it's $230. It's fine. It's okay. It's just now I've had it for how long? I bought it August 2022. Yeah, so now it's in bad shape as far as the edges on it. It's okay. You see my edges, the edges on there. They are bubbled. So yeah, see how that is really loose. All of them are going like that. So now it's kind of giving me this bubble effect. And I really wanted to have that stay fit to the pad when it's in there. Yeah. So it sticks out. It's just really doesn't look good. It doesn't. But the keyboard also, you see the keys on there are peeling because I use those two keys a lot. Same thing with the shift key starting to peel. So, oh my gosh. But anyway, so I would say long term, because I've had this for about a year and a half. The case overall is fine. Like the flap, everything is still, it's sturdy, it still works, but it's just these edges, the material there, it's that's not great. So that's what's coming loose, and I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. So I would probably say you're gonna have to spend the extra, because the other options that they have, that I've looked at the store, I don't like them. So let me see if I can. Yeah, see, hold on. They have these, but they're, and then the black ones, it's like I don't like the look of it. These right here, they don't have a trackpad on them. So I definitely want to keep the trackpad on mine, but um the material, whatever the keys are made out of, I have to get something better. Definitely have to get something better. So they have a Magic Keyboard here for $250, but I don't think this is the new one. Yeah, this is the old model with the same flap back there. Now they're saying 10th generation. Honestly, I don't know which generation I have. I have to do a little bit of digging into that one, but oh, and then I totally forgot the now this is the first generation, which I don't think is going to work with the iPad Pro. I think you have to get the second generation pencil to work with the M1 iPad Pro. Um, where's the link? Here we go. Okay, so it's $30 more. Yeah, so this is the second gen. Um, and it does stick up there, of course, at the top. So there's that. And I absolutely love it. I really do. It's really good for editing. I just wish that I could use it on while I could use it while working on the 27-inch monitor that I have. Like not directly on the monitor, but have maybe use the Magic Trackpad or use something to draw on, so that I can work directly on the Mac Mini, instead of going from the iPad Pro to the Mini, using the cloud. But yeah, and then the thing is that they make it very beneficial for you to have everything Apple, so that you can transfer your files between all of your devices. So if I want to go from, what can I use as an example? Okay, so this is a file that I worked on, right? So you go up here, and let me go ahead and move this. Can I blow this up? I don't think I can. Okay, so up here in the navigation bar, there's a share button, and then you just go AirDrop. Now, you're going to have to, I guess they call it wake up one of your devices. Yeah, so that's my iPad. And then if I grab my phone and I wake it up, then it'll pick up my phone. And then you just click on, whatever you want to use. And that's it. Yeah, you just click on here and then it'll transfer whatever file that you have or files you have selected. It'll transfer it to the other device. Before I had the iPad paired with the PC, but it's like you have to go to iCloud.com and move it that way. So I would have to connect the PC to the iCloud website and then move it from my Apple device to the cloud and then from the cloud to the PC. So it's just an extra step in there that's annoying. So anyway, if everything is Apple, it's just easier to transfer or move files from one device to the other device. If you are working on software, then you would come down here to the menu and you would see on your iPad, you would see an extra icon that pops up. And then if your iPad is next to the mini, your desktop, you can drag what you see here on the screen directly to the iPad. So it works in that way. It's like another feature, a new feature. I just forgot what they call it. But it's helpful that way as well. So that's the only thing I have to. Well, this is the only thing that I have to replace as far as what I purchased from last year. But yeah, like I said, I took advantage of those first few weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks during the going back to school sale. And again, a lot of devices were $50 to $100 off. And then there was no sales tax on top of that. So I just was like, buy however, as much of the stuff that I can, and save a few $100. Yeah, I'll save a few $100 that way. So for sure, that helped me stay within budget. I guess the only thing I didn't plan on buying was a trackpad, but I love it. Like I said, I absolutely love it. And I believe that's all I have. So I went through the main three apps that I use, and my setup that I have here. Um, I guess the only thing that I missed. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find this. I'm gonna see if I can find a monitor. I should be able to find it. Yes. Okay, here we go. This is my color calibrated monitor. Now, let's see if I can blow this up here. 3-year warranty. It's 4K HDR, high dynamic range. In short, it's really gonna give you a better picture. It's 100% sRGB. If you have the extra money, you would also want to make sure the monitor has 100% Adobe RGB, but I didn't have the extra funds. Color accuracy, that triangle, it actually means delta. So delta E less than 2 is also very important. And then the last thing is the Kalman verified. That just means that it's your monitor comes out of the box already calibrated like it's supposed to be, right? And of course you have calibration devices so that you can recalibrate the color. But its color accuracy is awesome. You want color accuracy, especially for photographers, because especially if you don't have the budget to print out all your work before you put it online to sell, especially at larger sizes, you have to know what the color is going to print like, right? So you want a color accurate monitor so that when you send it to the photo lab and they send you the prints back, you're not shocked at the colors. Like the colors need to match what you saw or what you see on the monitor. So that's really what that's for. So if you can get a monitor that's Delta 2, Delta 1, then those are great. And I think at minimum, you're going to need a Delta 2. The Delta 1s are going to be better. But if you see a color calibrated monitor and it's Delta 3 or higher, I would just skip it and find something else. Even though it's probably cheaper, I would definitely skip it. Definitely go Delta 2 or lower, or to 1. This is actually cheaper than what I spent. It's $400. And again, it's 27-inch 4K HDR. The UHD is ultra high definition, I believe. The IPS, that just means that your monitor is not going to have that ghosting effect. Because if your monitors that are not IPS, if you're not sitting directly in front of the monitor, you kind of sitting off to the side, it's going to have a ghosting effect where the screen starts fading. You don't want that. So yeah, I did a lot of research for several weeks on looking at what could fit in my budget, but was 4K HDR, at least 27 inches, color calibrated, Kalman verified, all of that, and the Asus ProArt was like in the top 5 of recommended monitors. Now, there are better monitors, right? Like much better monitors, but as far as like a starting point, on a lower budget, I would definitely say, this is up there with what you can use. And this one shocked me because some more expensive monitors were not Delta 2. They were like Delta 3, Delta 4. So I was surprised that at this price point, I got a Delta 2 as far as color accuracy. So yeah, for sure. This is pretty good. Now you see down here, you have calibrated monitors that are well over $1,000, $3,000. they can get expensive for sure. So yeah, I don't know why this is saying it's not, but I mean, I haven't had any issues with mine. But point being, like if you buy the uh the Mac Mini, let me see if I can go back to that one. Yeah, if you buy the Mac Mini, it's not going to have a monitor with it, of course. So if you just buy, you used to call it a tower, but but yeah, if you just buy this and you need a color calibrated monitor to pair with it, then I would for sure say like this is a pretty good start. But ideally you would want a 32-inch monitor. Um, and again, the Adobe RGB at 100% color accuracy, because here's your color spectrum. And so really it's just saying how many of the colors in the color spectrum can it reproduce or can you see on the monitor. Um, so the more colors that the monitor can reproduce or show on the screen, then the more accurate the color is going to be for your artwork photography. Um, so there's that. But yeah, it's very good. It's very, very good. I mean, I like it. The only thing that bothers me is you see the buttons over there. There are so many different screen modes with the monitor that it really needs a remote so that you don't have to constantly uh, push these buttons to get through the menu, right? And the buttons don't light up except for the power button at the very end. So they're hard to see. They're hard to see. So I'm like the next monitor that I get when I upgrade, it's definitely going to have a remote and some other features that are missing on this one. But for me, for the starting point, this is nice. Now the other thing that you can do with the monitor is you can turn it on its side. Uh, Let me see if I can blow this up. Yeah, you can turn the monitor on its side so that it's the portrait format. It's got the bevel here, which I really don't use too much. Swivel, which I absolutely love. Height adjustment, I actually love that one too, um, for sure. And yeah, I mean overall I like it. Definitely like it. And then here's the Kalman Verified. These are all your numbers, which to be honest, I don't know how to read. Um, Read how they measure color to make sure that the monitor is color accurate, but you do get that included. And then I'm not sure, because people have been asking me this too. I am not sure if the 3 months of complimentary access is still valid for the Creative Cloud. But Substance 3D, I'm going to look into it because I don't know what that is. If it's a 3D modeling software, I would definitely want to use that and see how much it costs. Because the old 3D modeling software I was using back in, what? Gosh, it was a long time ago. Um, but it's not compatible with this version of the processor that I'm using. So I do need another 3D modeling software that's not really expensive. I would like to use that. There are plenty of ports on it. I'm not, complaining. I don't have any complaints about the ports and stuff. Um, Now you do have some sound that comes on the monitor, but the sound is terrible. The audio quality is bad. I will, I will say that. So yeah, there's monitors like that. That's the only thing also with the Mac Studio, just the monitor by itself. You do have really good speakers on that. All right. So, oh gosh, let me think. Maybe I can look for this or find it. Now that's my main monitor, my primary. And let me see if I can find the one that I just got last week. Because the stores tend to keep track of everything that you buy. They do. They do. Oh, and I can't sign in. Hold on, it's. There we go. Thank you. It's giving me a hard time. Okay, so we are recently viewed. Where is it? I went to Target, and they were having this massive sale last week, and I'm trying to figure out if I can. Okay, so I got my account. See what I just. Gosh, they have a lot of stuff in here. Oh, here it is. Nope. Nothing online. Here it is. I found it. Let me see if I can try to blow this picture up. Do I want to buy it again? No. Okay. Here we go. I found it. So, and I try not to be too technical on here, but you you have to be careful with these numbers. The CU 7000, and then it gives you UN 43. It's like that happened with my other monitor, actually. For what I was looking for, I was like a couple of letters off and got a totally different monitor than what I expected. So the monitor that I was really looking for, it would have been out of my budget anyway, but it was just like I wasn't aware. So yeah, be careful with that. So again, this is a 4K TV, basically, 43-inch, Ultra HD. So the thing is that since I'm using it as my secondary, I want to make sure that when I drag windows and whatnot over to it, that the resolution doesn't dramatically change like it was before. So upgraded it, and I mean, it works great. It does have a remote, so that's very helpful with switching between inputs with what I want to do. So I use it just to have when just windows are open over here. I don't use it in editing at all, because if I put my photography on this screen, It looks awful. The color is awful. The color is completely off because the television is not color calibrated. So the blues are going to look more purple on here. Very saturated. It just is. So everything's out of whack over here. But like I said last week, this was less than $200 for sure. It was less than 200. So I went ahead and the price had been dropping slowly over the past 5 months or so, just gradually coming down. And like I said before, I think it's because now they're trying to sell the OLED monitors or televisions that are like 8K and stuff like that. So those are just going to be more expensive. So now they're trying to get rid of all of the 4Ks and have everybody go to OLED and 8K televisions. They're just moving those in more. So they have to get rid of all their inventory. So for folks like us who are looking for deals, this was a really good deal for what I'm looking for. I don't see anything that's brand new. But I would say this one is better. So you see you have the UHD 4K, right? That's the same. What's different is the QLED. That's going to be a better screen. So really, and of course, as you can see, it's more expensive. It's more than double what the other one was. So it can be Ultra HD 4K, but if it's QLED, it's going to be more. And the quality of the television is going to be better. So if you're using it as a second monitor, just decide like what you want to use. This is not bad. 4K QLED, 314. That's pretty good. But then you have to be careful with the letters here because they have the M series, M6, and there can be M, a different number. So really look at the fine print of what you're getting. Some televisions are more towards gaming. Some lean more into picture quality. So yeah, just there's a lot of guides on YouTube, of course, and they go into what you want to use your monitor or your television for. There's a really, a lot of good guides for that. So yeah, for sure. This one's a 50-inch too. Yeah, so people were last weekend or the weekend before last when I was at the store, people were buying televisions like crazy because they were all going on sale. Like they were all on sale. So I was like, I need to get a second monitor, so I went ahead and got the Samsung. But if you're the type of person that wants to keep up with technology, this type of television is going to be on the lower end compared to where we are right now. So that's why you'll see a bunch of sales on and off popping up. So yeah, I was really happy. I was really happy that I found 4K UHD at under 200. Let me see if I can find it. Find this here. Oh, I don't see it. Hold on, I don't see what I'm looking for. I got it. I found it. There you go. Clearance at Target. I was like, what? I was like, are you kidding me? So, yeah, this is like a week and a half ago. And the stock person told me, he's like, oh, you got the last one we had in stock for today. And I'm like, yes. So, yeah. And like I said on the previous episode, I did not put it on credit. I just moved my budget around. And it's like, I'm going to make this fit in here. So, yeah. That was awesome. Anyway, so if anyone else has any more questions, then just send me a DM or email. I've gotten quite a few invites to Discord, especially from the Twitch channel. And yeah, just I'm always available for advice or explaining my workflow, how everything I have here is set up. And so, yeah, I think that it's just you really have to have an idea of what you need and then what you're going to prioritize first, as far as what you're going to pay for now, what you're going to buy right now, and what you can save for later on. So, like I said in a previous episode, keyboard is still on my list. And I would also like to upgrade to the solid state drive, external solid state drive, because now I have, let me grab this. Okay. So now I have this. Yeah, it's very small, but this is four terabytes, 4 terabytes. So considering what it would cost you, if I would have upgraded the Mac Mini to 1 terabyte of storage, I believe that would have been an extra $200 to $400. So I was like, no. So I do have this one. And I've had plenty of external hard drives, but this is the main one that I'm using right now. And they're not permanent storage as far as like 10 years or something like that. I would say 5-6 years maybe, and then it's gonna slow down and crash or not be usable anymore. And that's because if it's not a solid state drive, you have the rotations, like there's a disk and it constantly spins, and I think it's like 7,000 rotations per minute or something like that. It spins, and that's why when it turns on, it makes a whole bunch of noise. You just hear it like, rrr, It's the device in there is spinning. Um, Solid state drive, there is no spinning mechanism to it. So that mechanism that spins, it doesn't wear down or wear out. So on solid state drives, they last a lot longer, which means they're more expensive, um, because you're not going to have to replace it as soon as you would with something that's not a solid state. So there's that. Those are all of my devices. But yeah, again, um, just feel free to leave your questions and comments below. And most of the time, I get more than anything, I get direct messages, whether it's through Instagram or Facebook. And then I've been getting a bunch of notifications from the Discord that I just became a part of. So, yeah, it's just meeting a lot of photographers, giving advice on workflow, editing, um, composition, which is really big. And yeah, just kind of putting everything together and improving, as much as possible. So yeah, so I hope that everyone got something out of this, and I will see you next time. Everyone, take care.